All right. So, welcome back to the program, everybody. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, but it ain't no theory. My name is AdrienneAlese. I am a singer, songwriter, author, model, musician. I am the author of a 2-part book series called Lucy's Lair, a part 1 and part 2 series. A book series reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture and child sex trafficking. Alright, so on this program I will be discussing today and reviewing my experience with the gang stalking. Remote gang stalking, focusing primarily on the remote gang stalking for today's program. Cyber torture, cyberbullying, no-touch torture, slow kill programs. And another one of the things I wanted to go over today is the spiritual warfare component to the satanic occult ritualistic practice of gang stalking, the black magic, blood magic, the satanic sacrifices made, and blood contracts, as well as hypnosis, spells, portals, and how it pertains to the safety of a targeted individual, otherwise known as a modern-day slave. So before I go any further, I just want to take a moment of silence for those no longer with us. Hi there, hello, howdy. Like I was saying, welcome back to the program, everybody. And Happy New Year to everybody listening to the program today. Well, alright then, so I guess I would like to catch everybody up on, how my holidays went. So, I don't know if anybody knows this. Probably you may know by now, or possibly you may have heard, but I write about it quite a bit as a way to give back to my childhood. So in any case, a fun fact about me is that I was brought up and raised in the foster care system, so I don't know if anybody really knows anything about the foster care system these days. I don't know what it's like anymore, although I can't say that wasn't true for my past lives. So at any rate, the foster mother that raised me, I guess I could start with that. Okay, so let me just start right there. So the foster mother that raised me has passed. and is no longer with us as well, which is why I give such a big voice to those without one any longer. And so as I sit around feeling sorry for myself more often than not, lately I've been pondering what I can possibly do to make things better for my baby self and those with also no voice. So I'm a firm believer in energy magic as well. That's just another side, I don't know, fucking interesting fact about me, excuse me. So anyways, just to start, one, I was raised up in the foster care systems. I'm not one of those prissy white entitled cunts or cunt nuggets that most of you have come to systematically hate so much. Actually quite the contrary, which is what makes me so interesting and different. And that's one of the reasons why my voice is as powerful as it is, because I've earned every bit of my right to say what I want to say. Anyways, I hope everybody had an amazing holiday season. That was my point. At any rate, in any case, I was raised and brought up in the foster care system. Now, in the foster care system, 1 year I was expelled from the home and I was put into a group home. And in this group home, I was basically isolated and separated from everything I had ever come to know. And during this point of time, everybody else back home, which was my foster home, at the time, they all of the kids, my two foster sisters and my biological brother, they all got gifted with for Christmas that year. Santa brought them, my foster parents brought them all a Game Boy, because that was all the rage at the time, and I do believe this was more than 20 years ago. Now, the interesting thing about time traveling is that it doesn't actually entail all that they make it seem, right? At least not for me, not this year, not this time, not in this case, not in this story. Okay, bear with. I've never done this before. Literally, this is my first time. Alright, so the beautiful thing about my God and the God that I serve is that this year around, I was able to be the one that got 3 Nintendo systems. I got 2 Game Boys and I got a legit Nintendo system. So it's just very interesting because there we have the number synchronicity again. Alright, so in the past it was 3 of my siblings that all got something that I was not given, right? And then we have 20 years later and it's going to be the same exact thing in the future, and I just know it, and that's why the story is just so precious. And even if I fail to tell the story the right way, it doesn't really matter because it's still important and it's still worth telling regardless. So all of my siblings right now have Neuralink, and all of my spiritual siblings right now have advanced technology. Okay, they all have the things that I want, that I wish I had, and it's really interesting because in 20 years or less, give or take, that'll literally be me. I will be getting whatever it is that's being withheld from me in this very moment. And I think that it is just so reassuring to know that God loves me so much that even 20 years in the future, He took the time out to remind me that, look, they might think they have the advantage on you now. They may very well think that they have the advantage on you now, but the things that they have now, like said mom, said family, said advanced technology, said advanced gaming, and so on and so forth. And you know how the story goes, because God is just that good. Okay, my God is. Anyways. Alright, so I just wanted to start the program off with a nice little story really quick. Kind of going over like my holiday season and sharing memories and sharing the testimony of restoration and healing in my life, making new memories. And so one of the things I wanted to begin going over on today's program was the remote gang stalking. When talking about gang stalking, you almost have to talk about it as if you're talking about a friend. So it's kind of like one of those things when you bring it up, you have to be like, in a way, you almost have to be like, oh, well, I know a friend that was, and then XYZ, what the situation that you may be facing regarding gang stalking is, and then you have to refer to that as if you're talking about a friend. That's how much the government works to oppress the voices that are working extremely hard to expose these corruptions. All right, and then also too, one of the things I have noticed about some of the people who claim to be discussing this topic, it's kind of like, excuse me, everyone discussing this topic is a gang stalker or a remote gang stalker or a cyber criminal. And you can tell, one of the easiest ways you can tell is if they use discriminating dialogue or any type of like a word salad, any gaslighting, trivializing, asking intimidating questions, and just using fear farming, fearful tactics to gain control over the mind in order to control the body and behavior. And then also too, just that the overall purpose of the program is to make anyone trying to expose operations pertaining to this mind control in the U.S. look ridiculous. So basically, people who are complaining about energy weapons abuse, mind control, mind reading, there will be a small group of people, small special ops, that will employ standardized tricks and disinformation ecosystem for misleading and discrediting any and all targets speaking truth. And so basically what it is that under the control of witchcraft, black magic, blood contracts, soul ties, hypnosis, mind control, and basically anything and everything that falls under that category, witchcraft, stuff of that nature. Worldly friends are turning to God right now because they are so scared, and vice versa. Godly men and women becoming more and more worldly with each passing moment, also because they are scared to death, and I guess you can technically call that terrorized. And they feel the pressure from society to fit a specific mold. A lot of that is social priming and not enough efforts being made to fight or stop it, which is, again, one of the reasons why I started this program, in hopes to shed light on deep undercover corruptions. So if you happen to be one of those people who still believes that Elon Musk bought Twitter, I can't talk to you. If you happen to be one of those people who believe George Floyd died by being choked or suffocated or strangled by the police, I cannot talk to you. And if you happen to be one of the people who still don't know what social engineering is, I can't talk to you. If you listen to WAP or anything mainstream, please stay the fuck out of my face. I will not talk to you. You believe lies, and that's all I can say. In my opinion, lying is one of the worst curses that somebody can place upon another person. It keeps the victim in shackles and in bondage and in the dark. A lie to me is even worse than a death curse, because if somebody curses you to death, then at least they're being honest. And that much can't be said for somebody who lies. Somebody who lies, there's no place for liars on this planet. People who get off lying and keeping other people in the dark, in shackles, in prison, in a mental and spiritual prison, or just enslaved by a lie. There's no place in the world. Those are people who are going straight to hell. And they should. Like I said, there's no place here for them. So, and the only reason why they're winners or have any money in the first place is because they lied and manipulated and cheated their way to the top. So anyways, God bless everyone working to expose this hidden enemy, and everyone doing what they can by discussing this topic and lending their voice. Also, to people who are supporting anything mainstream media mainstream, my bad. They're placating to rape culture and to death cult societies. Basically, anytime the Democrats or the shadow government get into a position of power, it's game on for rich people to basically treat poor people however the fuck they want. And then, of course, they project all of their insecurities. They know nothing. They know nothing. That's how dumb they are. They don't even know what projecting is. It's like when you're literally so evil that the alcohol, the pills, the smoking, and the drinking, it doesn't do it for you. So you actually need to take all of those bad and negative feelings that you've accumulated over one bad choice after another, years of making poor decisions. You take all of that stuff that you don't want to feel, and then you put it on a scapegoat. All of that emotional baggage that comes as karmic energy manifested from somebody who doesn't have a healthy mindset, lifestyle, or anything of that nature. So it's abuse, it's toxic, and basically it's projection magic at its finest, taking all of that emotional responsibility, accountability, and then putting it back on the victim. It's sick, it's disgusting. So anyways, today I promised I would be discussing remote gang stalking. So basically it's hacking, phishing, spear phishing, whale phishing, and stuff of that nature. So we have on the video footage right now, there is a photo of the evil witch who is looking through this magic mirror. Now, the magic mirror is just technology. It's portrayed as magic in many, many, many Disney films and a bunch of different movies just in general. But Disney seems to be one of the main sources for this magic mirror. And so basically the person that they're watching using technology, which is the device, the phone, the computer, the TV, that data that they're pulling and that person that they're watching is the one that they're obsessed with. So anyways, that's the scapegoat. And Disney is infamous for scapegoating and teaching children also the ritual of scapegoating. So what is remote gang stalking? So like I said, hacking, phishing, spying, social engineering, tracking, 24/7 satellite surveillance,
And also, too, all of this is related to human sex trafficking. One of the reasons, one of the ways that cancel culture employs or boots on ground, basically gang stalkers that are also government sponsored hackers, excuse me. And in an attempt to basically bully and harass a person from using their device, let's say to take photos. In my case, I'm a model. I use my device to get gigs. So this is well known. Before I was canceled, I was getting gigs and I was making $8,000 cash a month. And I have the receipts to prove that. So the fact that they try to get their target to, or the fact that the mind control silent operatives or the ops, they manipulate their targeted individual into believing that it wasn't ever successful, it never made any money. It does all kinds of little tactics to try to manipulate the target, right? One of the things that it does is it'll take the data, literally, after it's hacked and spied and leaked all of the information publicly shaming from the device, from the magic mirror. Like you can see here, hackers are watching you. And so just to let everybody know, you're all being watched very closely. Every single thing that you say, do, every fart that you make, every burp that you make, you're all being watched remotely by remote gang stalkers, government-sponsored hackers, okay? Now, when you're being targeted, your data is being spearphished. So spear phishing is a specific type of phishing. Okay, so phishing, spelled with a PH, is a little bit different. This is a scam that is very common. You'll get the unwanted emails. You'll get the unwanted text messages. Now, phishing, this scam has evolved. So it used to just be where you get these unwanted texts, these unwanted emails, and then you'd go about your day and not really give it much thought. But now, phishing has evolved to the point where the device is being used to target and harass the individuals. So it could be as simple as watching you from the other side while you masturbate, while you're watching porn, while you're taking a shower, while you're using the bathroom, right? So these are all things that phishing attacks exploit. These are all ways that they exploit human vulnerability, just through phishing, just one tactic alone. And so the people who are geo-tracking, data harvesting, they are the ones responsible for the electronic harassments. And the electronic harassments don't just stop by Googling something or looking something up on Amazon or going onto YouTube or going onto BitChute. No, the electronic harassments have evolved as well. So with the evolvement and the advancement of technology, the harassments and the torture get greater and greater and greater with time. So I can, as a model, take a photo of myself. Let's say if I do plan to take a nude, it wouldn't matter. It's my data, right? It's my body, right? So, but with this program and these silent operatives, these stay-behind operatives,
So basically what they're doing is they're taking the information that they received using my data, their targeted individuals' data. So if they happen to see that my skin is looking a certain type of way that day, they will send somebody in the flesh, in the 3D, to come and mock or mimic whatever it is. Like if it was a mole or something like that that's on my skin, they'll come out and they'll talk about how, you know, I'm fucking molly or whatever. They'll just basically degrade me as a woman in every type of way. Every single type of way. There's no beginning, there's no end. They've used their children to harass me as well. So one of the things that the children really enjoy doing is calling me SpongeBob. I guess because I'm a square and I have a flat ass. I don't know. But it's really interesting when they get the children involved, because it goes to show you they're diabolical. And also, too, their level of commitment. Like, I will engage my children in this criminal activity. That's how dedicated I am to being evil towards you. Now, understand, this is a risk that gang stalkers are taking. This is a risk. If you harass somebody who's heavily armed, and you manage to make it out of that situation unscathed, you and your children are safe, well, then you're not harassing a criminal, so I don't know exactly what you're intending to incite in the first place, right? Technically, you're harassing your God. So, it is interesting, right? You get all of your power from harassing your scapegoat. So you're not harassing or stalking a criminal. And again, the way projection works, since these things have no clue, they're in complete denial of the state of their mental health. Because they're in denial, they don't ever get the help that they need. They'll be in and out of the prison systems for the rest of their lives. Some of them, most of them. That's why they're in these programs in the first place, because they don't have a life. Their life belongs to whoever they work for, and whoever they work for is seeking to torture and harass me literally to death. But so that's not my point. Satanists really genuinely believe that if they have a scapegoat to carry the burden, the emotional baggage, then God will forgive them. And all of the sins will go with the scapegoat wherever the scapegoat goes. So they don't bear any of the remorse. They don't bear any of the guilt. Because trust me, if they did, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. But the fact that they're completely void of that they don't have a heart, and they need a place to put all of those emotions and that empathy, that love and that hate, all of it. The only thing that they are capable of actually possessing is the spirit of hate, which is why they have and need a scapegoat so bad. So in essence, the scapegoat is actually their God. It's not a slave, although they do treat it like, they treat the targeted individual like a slave, and it is actually a form of domestic servitude. It's absolutely human trafficking is slavery, and really that's all it comes down to. So if I take a photo in a bikini and my belly button looks wrinkly, I have 3 children. I'm not going to apologize for having 3 children. I look great for having 3 children. The fact that you're bothered by it, or the fact that your boss is bothered by it, it implies that I look great enough to make whoever you work for jealous. That's all you're saying. So when you're out here projecting whatever it is that you're feeling bad for, trying to manipulate me in an attempt to lower my consciousness and to manipulate my mind to feel self-conscious and not to be a high vibrational entity that I am, everything that you continue to tell me is exactly how you feel about yourself. That's the way projection works. So if you target me and you're manipulating my mind to feel insecure because my belly button was wrinkly one day in a photo, first of all, why are you hacked onto my device? You're weird as fuck for that. I mean, the level of stalkery and creepery, I mean, you're just scum at this point. There's no point in even being alive if all you're going to do is be a host for this evil. And then project that. Dude, if you've got a fucking problem everywhere you go, guess what? You're the fucking problem. My wrinkly belly button is not a fucking problem. Why are you hacked onto my device? And why are you looking at my wrinkly belly button in the first place? Because your boss hired you to discriminate against me? Why? Because you're a host for hate.
You're possessed by a demon, literally. The same exact shit that you keep trying to put on your target is exactly you. You're disgusting. You're dirty. Literally. You have blood on your hands. It doesn't get any dirtier than that. Stop sending people to come and stalk and harass me, or better yet, do, so I can continue to expose you.
So I guess what I'm basically trying to say, more or less, is just how much fuckery and bullshit I've heard, how much white noise commentary I've heard, and how much bullshit I've had to deal with in passing every time I leave my house, or not even technically leave my house, but even just to step outside for a cigarette smoke. It's just kind of like the second I do, there will be somebody, some gang stalker, I would say a good 90% of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, there will be somebody trying to intimidate me. Whether it just be with their presence, whether it just be with their body, whether it just be somebody standing literally right there the whole time I'm smoking. But they won't move, they won't leave. And a lot of times they like to come up and say something really stupid. And they're not talking to me because it's schizophrenic. It's talking to itself. It is exactly whatever it is trying to make its target seem like. Whatever it is saying that the target is guilty of doing is exactly what it is guilty of. And so that's how projection works. So gang stalking is a series of disinformation. So if, like I said, if you believe that Elon Musk bought Twitter, like, I don't want anything to do with you. You have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of inner reflecting to do, and you believe rumors that aren't true. And that's exactly what it's intended to, because you are seen as a criminal, as an enemy, and you're treated with disdain. You're treated as like a criminal. You're not owed the truth. So, and you're a slave, so they definitely don't want you to be free. And the truth is what sets us free. The truth will set you free. And so they keep their enemies in a state of constant, perpetual fear and confusion. Those two things mixed together are what most people can spend a whole lifetime on nothing, doing nothing, or just committing crimes, or just being toxic, or just being in abusive relationships that don't really mean anything to them at all, living a double life, or just whatever. So like I said, you believe rumors if you believe and that Elon Musk bought Twitter. And so, like, if you believe rumors, you're playing a hand in your own demise. So I can't have anything, and I won't have anything to do with people who believe rumors by disinformation agents. I don't want to have anything to do with people who believe these rumors, because they're actually enabling the abusive process further. So the first step is knowing the truth and then speaking out about it, right? To help raise the awareness. Another thing too is, when I've done my research on gang stalking, like I said, I'm explaining my experience with this. Everybody's experience is probably different. So when I've researched and looked up some videos to watch, I will say that there are some people on there encouraging people not to come out and speak about their victimization. And I'm going to say right now, that's complete bullshit, okay? When people start dying, that's when it's time to start speaking up, in my opinion. If somebody is on YouTube talking about gang stalking, and then they are encouraging the person watching, their viewers, not to speak about it, like, what, you're the only one that's allowed to talk about it? And so what? That continues to keep the voices that need to be heard, the ones that are still fighting to be heard, that continues to keep them completely in the dark. And I don't really genuinely think that anybody who's experiencing gang stalking, I don't think that they should be quiet, because you're enabling the problem, you know. And if somebody is saying
you need to be quiet about this and don't talk about this, they're a gang stalker. They should not be trusted, and you should not let them penetrate your mind's eye any longer. You should not entertain them whatsoever. Somebody who cares about you, has your best interest in mind, they want to bring, if you're not aware, they want to raise your awareness. They want to make you aware so that you can protect yourself, because the only way that you take the precautions necessary to keep your safety intact is by taking precautionary measures, prevention. To know, first of all, you have to know, right? That's why they say knowledge is power, because if you don't know what's going on, or if you've been misled, misguided, shout out to the oracle, or what is it, the fairy godmother. Yeah, no, I mean, how is their guidance leading you so far? Is it breaking your family up? If you're listening to people on YouTube and you're going to them for any type of guidance, and you're being misled, or you're being encouraged to act impulsively, like maybe cheat, or maybe you're being encouraged through being socially engineered, maybe you're being encouraged to leave a relationship that is going to end up being the beginning of your complete downfall, or could be, I'm just saying, could be. Maybe you're being encouraged to do things like commit crimes. Like maybe you're so afraid of what may happen to you if you speak out about some of the things that are going on in the world, or specifically in your life. Maybe you're afraid that if you speak about those things, then the abuse will just get worse. But it's not getting any better anytime soon. It's going to get worse regardless. This is what these abusive control freaks do. This is what these maniacs do best.
All right, so I have available a website if anybody's interested in taking a look at that. It's www.targetedjustice.com. There's a lot more information pertaining to gang stalking, organized or group stalking, terror stalking, stuff of that nature. It's all the information, basic information that you need, can be found on that website. And like I was saying, all right, so like I was saying, pertaining to the gang stalking and the remote gang stalking, so everybody's experience with this is different, and I'm a woman, so my experience with it is more along the lines of domestic servitude and human sex trafficking, sexploitation, sexpionage. Mine is specifically tailored to me, you know, as I'm sure most people's are, right? So the gang stalkers have broken into my vehicle. They've broken into Jaron's vehicle recently. But when they broke into my vehicle, I want to say sometime in the summer, early in the summer last year, they broke into my car so that they can put hoop earrings in the back seat of my car to kind of make it seem or look as if my fiance was having an affair. And all of that was basically to incite the idea that he's cheating. And further, the manipulation and the abusive process. And I remember, because I did a video on this about the earrings, and I remember even thinking at the time, because I asked him, like, what the heck, you know? And I don't ever accuse anybody of cheating, because it's really pointless. A person has the right to do whatever they want to do. If they want to cheat in a relationship, that's toxic AF, and it's abusive, but it's their choice. If they want to be a cheater, an insecure cheater in the relationship, the only real reason why people cheat is because they're insecure. That's it. It has nothing to do with their partner. Their partner isn't inadequate. Their partner isn't doing anything. You know, that has nothing to do with what
their girlfriend or wife may or may not be doing, even if the wife is getting overweight, even if the wife is letting themselves go or no longer considered as attractive as she was when the relationship first started. It wouldn't really matter. There's no explanation for cheating except for this. Mentally unstable people constantly need validation. They need a source and a supply. When they can't find or have one or stimulate one naturally, organically, they resort to putting people down. So cheating on somebody is a form of abuse. It's a way to make somebody feel like they're less valuable, less worthy, less whatever. And also, too, for women, it creates a sense of neediness. All of a sudden now we're like kind of desperate because we feel like, well, we're being cheated on, we might be left, so now I need to be desperate, now I need to be needy. Whereas before I didn't feel that that issue, that lingering issue or whatever. I didn't have the insecurities, I didn't have the low self-esteem or whatever. Maybe I did, and some people do, and that's why they attract toxic men, right? And I mean, like, once you get to be my age, I'm pretty sure everybody has had a relationship that's been toxic. Well, I'm 33 years old, and I can tell you right now, people do things for their own gain, for their own reasons, okay? So if somebody's cheating, it's because they're insecure and they seek validation, and they can get validation and they feel fulfilled when they cheat. And now, I don't think that my fiance cheated. I genuinely believe what he said, and I believe that even if he did, or even if he would, he still comes home every night to me, so it wouldn't really make a whole lot of difference, right? At least not to me. It doesn't make that much. It doesn't make any difference, really. If he's still coming home every night and he's still here with his family, then that's really all that matters. And dealing with gang stalking, there's really, it wouldn't matter either way, because the situation is intended to manipulate me into feeling insecure and then accusing him of cheating, right? But they broke into my car and put some hoop earrings in there. And then when I went to Google my astrological or zodiac sign, which is Libra, and I used to watch the Psychic Spies on YouTube until I fell down another rabbit hole and realized how corrupt and misleading and misguiding all of them actually are. They're actually extremely evil. And so, but wouldn't you know, the electronic harassment is coupled. It's directly linked to the phishing attacks. It's directly linked to the physical social engineering attacks. And so whatever happens in the 3D will manifest online somewhere. And then all of a sudden, whatever a targeted individual is doing, whatever they're researching, whatever YouTuber or whatever mainstream media that they're watching, that's being infiltrated, and they're now being harassed for whatever situation took place in their home. So in this case, it was the hoop earrings. So not only does it happen in the flesh, but then you get constantly harassed online about it as well. And only a spy would know these intimate details. Only a hacker, only somebody who's stalking would know intimate details, like what your body looks like. For instance, when you take a photo, you don't even post it to anything, but yet they know. And I mean, like, it's so obvious because I have the paper trail. I was smart enough to screen grab, and I have the evidence that clearly states that my phone was hacked. Not only that, but I've reported it to the FBI, and they do nothing. I've reported it to the phone company, and I was told at that time, I was informed at that time that I was a victim of a phishing scandal, a corruption scandal. So, and then there's several different types of phishing, and then there's several different branches to the whole thing. It comes in layers, basically, and it's deep as the ocean and as high as the galaxy skies or whatever. But anyways, this corruption that I was talking about is really specific because they're constantly targeting my relationship, and they know that I depend on this relationship since I've been canceled for, quote, being racist, quote. I can't get a job unless I play a hand in my own gang stalking. You know, I'm not allowed to get any gigs. I'm not allowed to have any supporters, according to the people who have conspired against me. It's really interesting because they took all of my data, all of my intellectual property, and they monetized off of that. And they financially benefited from my ideas, from my dreams, right? So you can't call somebody that made you rich, a slave that made you rich, you can't call that person racist. Even if they were racist, they've already paid back their restitution. So it doesn't matter how you try to play this game, because the truth is the only thing that never wavers. And so you don't need a good memory. One of the great things about being honest is that you never need a good memory to be able to remember the truth. It's easy to remember because it never wavers. And so in 10, 20, 50, 100 years, my truth, I'm still going to be saying the same. I'm still going to be singing to the same tune, because my truth isn't going to waver. My story will still be the same story, and my truth will still be exactly what it is today. Eternal.
All right, so stock groups operate as businesses. The sole beneficiaries are the leaders. Cause stalking, target individuals. The financial elite covert war against the civilian population. Terror stalkers always intimidate and bully all targets into silence. All right, so like I was saying, I became aware of my targeting sometime in late July, around the 19th and the 20th of 2021, when my computer systems on my cell phone alerted me that my device had been hacked and compromised by the hackers. I have evidence and screenshots and other witness accounts to prove my claim, as well as when I called the phone company, I recorded that conversation also. And I was informed by the phone company at that time that my electronic device was being used to monitor, track 24/7 remote and satellite surveillance. I reported this incident to the FBI, and I was never contacted by authorities. Still, to this day, I have not been contacted by a single police officer in regards to any of these crimes. None of them. They have every single one of these crimes that has been reported has fallen at the wayside. Every single attempt to get any sort of assistance, any sort of professional assistance, every single attempt made has failed on my end so far. And so that really goes to show the level of evil, and also too the level of discrimination towards women. This has nothing to do with black people. Nothing. The fact that somebody would so rudely come around and just try to put their little label or their little logo. Fuck you, bitch. Seriously. Fuck off, bitch. I can't stress this enough. I am quite literally the baddest on the planet. Keep crying about it, why don't you? Let them know. All you're doing is doing me a favor. Period. Making it seem like I hacked you. No, you're delusional. So, projection is when a person is guilty of something, let's say cheating, and then they blame or project that guilt, that guilty, dirty conscience, that bad feeling, that emotional baggage that comes
with whatever they did, right? So if they're calling me a cheater and they know that they're guilty of cheating, they don't and can't process guilt. Completely inadequate, completely void inside, completely heartless, completely cold, completely soulless. Okay? It doesn't comprehend any emotions, good or bad. Completely ice, completely void. So then it needs a place to put that. And that's what the scapegoat or the target or the victim is for. So I'm so guilty that I cheated on you, now I'm going to make it your fault. And I'm going to blame you for the cheating that I'm responsible for. This is how projection magic works. This is it in a nutshell. I'm going to call you racist, and then I'm going to cancel you because I'm racist. And I'm going to conspire against you in the meantime because that's how racist I am, and that's how much I hate you. And then I'm going to turn around and tell everybody that you're the racist one, even though you've never done anything racist, and you've paid back all your restitution, even if you were. It makes no sense. It's highly delusional, and I'm not confused at all. You're not smarter than the smartest person on the planet because you were able to steal their ideas, cancel them, conspire against them, and then monetize all of their dreams and make you a bunch of money. It doesn't work that way. Like I said, the truth is still going to be the truth, and it isn't even my truth at this point. It's God's truth. Another one of the things that we need to come back in here and start saying is God's people. So, the new KKK, the new Nazis are all of these people who are like just looking out for their fam. They're just looking out for their people. Honey, you work at fucking McDonald's. You don't even have any kids. What people are you talking about? You mean God's people? All of the people that target me, most of them police officing men, don't have any kids. Don't even know what it's like to really live, to be on this planet, to have a child, to bring a child into the world, and to raise a child. They have no idea, ignorant. And if you don't have a child, it's because you still are a child. Period. And I mentioned the fact that they don't have kids, and that it's because they are still kids, and a lot of them that do have kids, they don't value their kids. They're so psychotic and they're so narcissistic that they sign their kids up for their criminality, quite literally putting their kids in the line of fire. Now, all I do is advocate for people, less privileged children, specifically foster children, specifically orphans. Okay, so you never have to worry about me harming your child, okay? Ever. But I mean, how is it that most of these police officing men don't have any children, so they'll never know what it feels like to live for somebody other than themselves? And then the ones that do have kids still don't know what that feels like because they're signing their kids up for the same criminality that they're responsible for doing. So now you have a whole generation of people coming up in the world, these people's kids, gang stalkers' kids, who are engaging in organized crime and don't have any way out. So where's their safe haven? Who's going to speak on behalf of these rich kids who don't want to participate in organized crime, but have to anyways because people having their own kids, they don't see them as being their own special individual selves. And they use them and abuse them for their own gain. Why do any gang stalkers have kids? They need to be put in foster care immediately, yesterday. Why Do anybody in mainstream media or any mainstream artists, why are they really parents? And so one of the things that I wanted to go over a little bit just really quick is the cognitive dissonance. Excuse me. So cognitive dissonance is basically, in advertising, a way to manipulate the mind to want something that it doesn't yet have. Okay, so the gang stalkers, so basically we have really wealthy people. Gang stalking gang stalkers are celebrity lapdogs and celebrity hitmen. Okay, every single celebrity that you see in the mainstream media, every single mainstream artist, every single one of them is a shadow government puppet. They work for the government. So everybody you've ever seen on TV got that job because they are a really good lapdog. Okay? So Hollywood is full of government spies, assassins, and that's why they parody around on a red carpet. The red carpet is just a signifier of the bloodshed. And that's it. So it's really interesting because when they have kids of their own, these kids are only here, literally, to gang stalk. And the reason why it's important is because I can imagine that some of these kids don't want to be involved in organized crime, right? And which one of you cares enough to speak on behalf of them? Because so far it looks like nobody. So while you're so concerned with who doesn't care about somebody else, you're just proving that you don't care about your own. And I mean, time will tell this. Time will and has been saying this same story for a long time. And that's why these rich kids end up being jealous of an orphan. Because they want everything that they have and they think that they're entitled to it. And they'll do whatever it takes to get it. Not because they want it, but because they're void. Nobody ever cared about them. They don't have a voice. Their voice doesn't matter. Period. I mean, there's not... If an orphan who does so much advocating for foster children has to start advocating on behalf of gang stalking children, because I've seen firsthand how they do not care about their children, how they put their children in the line of fire. Look, if you don't care about your kid, why should I? If you don't see your child as a person of their own, in their own right, worthy of respect, if you don't see them as an individual, why should I? If you don't protect them, why should I? If you don't care about them, why should I? And so the cognitive dissonance and them having families that they don't care about is literally just so that they can have something that you think that you want, because they've manipulated you to believe that, and that they have. Because in reality, they're coming for everything that I want. They have taken me and stripped me for everything that I've had. Okay? They want their kids in their minds to grow up to be as strong as I have become. But the only way you can do such a thing is if you're raised in the system, and if you have been raised with love. And so because I was raised in the foster care system, I consider myself to be as American as it gets. It doesn't get any more American than being raised in a foster care system. I'm sorry, but gang stalking children don't have what it takes. Which is why nobody cares, which is why nobody speaks on behalf of them. They're tapped into something that they want nothing to do with.
So like I was saying, my phone was hacked on the 19th. I believe that was July 19th, July 20th of 2021. And there's evidence to prove the claims that I'm making. And It is also interesting that the gang stalkers ritualize the breaking in of my fiance's truck as a way to remind him that they killed his baby cousin Jennifer. And it's become a ritual. It's actually, as I've been openly discussing it, excuse me, I'm a human too. So as I've been openly discussing it, I've noticed a pattern. And so basically on the same day of every month, something will happen to Jerron's truck. Either it'll get broken into or it'll get towed, but it's systemic. It's all organized. It's all premeditated. It's a group of people who literally sat around and premeditated this. Each and every one of these socially engineered attacks have been organized ahead of time, and well, that's how they continue to operate. So on August 1st, 2021, Jennifer Alfizia, Jaron's cousin, was murdered in a hit-and-run car accident in Los Angeles, California. The perpetrator was never found guilty and never charged. I have evidence and other witness accounts to prove my claim. Rest in peace. So, there was a song, and it's called LA 69, Jenny 69. And I'm not even sure who this artist is. I've never heard of this artist before in my life. And it turns out that this is a Mexican artist. And the lyrics to the song are completely 110% concealed. That's why they're in a different language. So, but I will say that the lady who is mocking Jerron's cousin in the music video has nothing on Jerron's cousin aesthetically. She's ugly as fuck. It looks like a clone. It looks like a computer. It looks like, literally, like a human computer. A computer in human form. And so there's nothing sexy or attractive, and nobody's heard of her before. Nobody will ever hear of her ever. Her being in my little report letter is about as famous as it gets. Like, this is what they're working to become now. They're working to be a fucking song that I play in the background of whatever it is that I'm doing. So, that's what they've been reduced to. Gang stalkers will all be reduced to that. Every single gang stalker is going to be reduced to being nothing more than a feature that I use on one of my shows or in my program. And I mean, like, that's pretty evident when you see that we have this mainstream artist, supposedly, that nobody's ever heard of until Jerron's cousin was conspired against and sacrificed in place of me, as well as George Floyd, if he did indeed actually die that day. Which, I mean, how funny is it? I mean, how funny is it? How good is my God? How are you going to put on an elaborate street theater gang stalking performance, and then the one person that you are trying to target is the one person in the world that doesn't watch it because they already know? Is my God good? Or is my God good? Is it conveniently, is it convenient that George Floyd just so happens to conveniently be a Libra? Is it convenient that George Floyd's birthday is one day before mine? In the realm of gang stalking, when you're faced with the facts, and when you're confronted with the facts and the evidence is clear, there are no coincidences. There are no conveniences. There are no accidents. There's no such thing as an accident when a target has been fished, spearfished, conspired against,
when a target has put themselves in a position where a gang stalker has any sort of access to them, whether it be remotely or physically, spiritually, financially. So none of these things are happening by any means of accident when we have celebrity lapdog gang stalkers who sit around and have these meetings and actually think that they're anything more than the murdering, psychopathic, belligerent, deranged, diabolical hosts for satanic corruption and evil. That's all they are. That's all the gang stalker's child is. If you were to murder a gang stalker, you would be doing a service to the greater good and the greater cause, which is what they want. And that brings me to my next talking point. One of the reasons why the Bible is so iconic is because it ritualizes the abusive process against and towards women. The Bible is so iconic, and the story of Jesus is so needed in society in order for the Jews and the powers that be to inform the public of what happens if you so dare speak out about their corruption. Okay, and we need people that so dare boldly speak out about the corruption that is being bestowed upon humanity. Okay, and now I care about every single person on this planet, even the ones that are no longer with us, especially those ones. Okay? I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. Like I always say, I am faith-based and grace-saved. So that's faith-made, grace-saved. For those of you who might be sitting in the back, let me say it one more time. Faith-made, grace-saved. So that means everything I believe in is faith-based. So fear doesn't control me. Fear, at its best, has met its match. Period. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to hide. That's quite literally you. I'm easy to find. And thanks to you, easier to target. But the Bible in and of itself is discriminatory towards and against women, and it needs to be canceled. There's no room for that type of discriminatory towards women. There's no room in our society. This is the reason why the economy is collapsing right now, because women are being raped. And that is the one fact that our leaders in positions of real power fail to acknowledge. That's the one and only thing that they will not accept as truth. Our country, America, is the United States of rape culture and nothing more. You're the United States of rape culture and nothing more. Our country, my country, is the godfather of rape culture and nothing more. Period. The Bible needs to be canceled because of its fucking abuses and its ritualistic abuses upon women. The portal of life. Everybody wants to be a woman. Nobody wants to be a man. Nobody wants to be hairy, fat, bald, overweight, working a fucking 60-hour-a-week job. Sorry, nobody envies you. Not one person. Okay, not even the women that died in the name of fame. They don't want to be you. Not on their worst day. Period. So basically, more or less, what I'm trying to say and what I've been trying to say is that this has to do with gender biases. This entire movement has absolutely nothing to do with race. Nothing to do with race. Every single thing that you have been led to believe as true is a lie. down to the hairs on my fucking asshole. Because there aren't none. There's none. Bald, baby. Okay? Now that's irrelevant. But if you want to get that transparent, that is the type of transparency that is needed. Okay? The Bible needs to be canceled. Your church is satanic because of the abuses, the ritualistic abusive process. Your God is satanic because of the ritual abusive process that is inflicted upon women. Period. Period. Every single thing that you have come to know as home base is a lie. Every single thing that you have come to know as truth, down to the hairs on my asshole, is a lie because there aren't any. Period. Now I'm going to go over remote gang stalking because I promised I would before the show ends for today. Remote gang stalking, the illegal and unauthorized abuses of advanced military-grade weapons that are being used for torture programs. Torture that compromises of mind reading, mind control, central nervous system control, 24/7 anywhere tracking using satellite surveillance. That means using a satellite, our government is able to look and see every single thing inside of your home. They can see what you see through your eyes. Okay? As clear as day. What part of alien technology do you not understand? What part of your cell phone is alien technology? What part is that is hard for you to understand? I'll wait. Alright, so in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm going to be doing a whole lot of talking because I've earned that right. Thank you very much. Stop talking. If you haven't got a bird rising from your sternum, your words don't matter. Period. Stop talking. Give your job to a woman that looks like me. Thank you. Alright, so torture compromises of mind reading, mind control, central nervous system control, 24/7 anywhere tracking, organized gang stalking. Alright, voice to skull, V2K, which was what Y2K was really about. Physical injury harassment through direct energy weapons using your cell phone. Oh yeah. Yeah, you feel so connected to that thing for a reason. You're being manipulated as if you would if you were in a toxic relationship. As if you would be if you were being trafficked. Exactly like that. Yes. Your cell phone is grooming you. That's why you're addicted to watching porn. Absolutely. That's it. Total surveillance, mind reading, body control, dream manipulation, using neuroweapons, remote neural monitoring module. So that's RNM. Okay. Using remote gang stalking. So using this, harassers can view all the innermost thoughts of the targeted person on a screen. So if the government knew that somebody was a genius, hands down, they don't even have to say it. They could just see that this person is intellectually evolving faster than the rest of the herd. Okay? Like I said, bird is the word. Fuck the rest. If you don't know that, you know nothing. If you know that much, guess what? That's all there is to it. Period. Alright, so all the innermost thoughts of the targeted person on a screen as clearly as one reads the newspaper. The eyes of the target become a live camera for the trackers. Wherever the target's view is recorded on the tracker's computer or viewed by the tracker's brain using a brain-to-computer interface. BCI. Brain-to-brain interface, BBI. These satellite-based technologies result in gross bypassing of fundamental human rights, to say the least, such as personal privacy, health, safety, data security, family security, etc. Prepackaged dream sequences are routinely downloaded to a TI's, targeted individuals, brain, and harassers interact with the victims while they are dreaming. You can't make this shit up. Either I am the most elaborate storyteller that's never been employed, doesn't work for Disney, doesn't work for the government, and or every single word is true. You be the judge. These satellite-based technology result in gross, bypassing of fundamental human rights, the ones, you mean to tell me the very rights that I speak so passionately upon? Oh, wow. Yeah, you've met your day. You've had your day. Oh, yeah. So, bypassing of fundamental human rights such as personal privacy, health, data security, family security, etc. So when you hear about Elon Musk laying off 75% of Twitter's staff, oh, they're just boasting and bragging about killing Duran's cousin. Make no fucking mistake. It's called a subliminal parody. And I've shortened it like a fucking nickname. And so it's called a sub-parody. So, anyways, prepackaged dream sequences are routinely downloaded. Routinely. So you mean to tell me this is like a ritual? Oh. So you mean to tell me that while I'm dreaming, aliens are taking my astral form, my soul, out of my body, and then meeting me in another dimension? Oh, yes. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's it. Bingo. So prepackaged dream sequences are ritualistically is what they mean, downloaded to a targeted individual's brain, and harassers interact with the victims while they are dreaming. So, while we are asleep, basically what it means to say is that we are traveling to other dimensions, other portals, and through wormholes, and to another galaxy and into another world entirely. And I'm going to go ahead and start at the top with this one. This is so hard to unpack, and I'm really sorry for the alphabet soup, okay? I didn't mean to word salad anybody, and if I did, I apologize. So, I'm just emotionally caught up and entangled just slightly, because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to go in a dream state and meet a celebrity while I'm sleeping. More than one. We'll get to it. So, all of this is relative, and you might ask why. Well, it's not just because of the fact that the person responsible for changing the world is a slave that they try to call racist. How is a slave racist? First of all, let me start by asking you that. How is a slave racist? I'll wait. How is a murderer trying to call a non-murderer a criminal of any sort? I'll wait. All right, so one of the things I wanted to go over was one of the very first dreams I ever had that I can actually recall because I keep a dream log. I'm smart, unlike the rest of you all. I knew that there was something going on long before. All right? Any of these things that happened in my life in the last 3 years, long before any of those things started happening, I was already keeping, and I already had a dream log. And so if I had a funny dream or an interesting dream, the mic gets caught on my lip. I'm not used to using one. And I probably sound better without one, to be honest. So anyways, it's kind of like filter. I look better without it. But anyways, these things are meeting us in a dream state. So that means the very first dreams that I can recall ever having in the last 3 years since the pandemic has started. Can you think of any and every dream, including nightmares, that may or may not have happened to you since the pandemic has started? Because they've really been honing in on these weapons since the pandemic has started. So these aliens, absolutely 110% hands down, are abducting these people, but it's nothing like the way that you see in the mainstream. The mainstream ridicules it all, and that's exactly what these disinformation agents are basically for. When somebody has a legit complaint, when somebody's experienced something supernatural that can't be explained, there are people that are employed to come along and discredit this person, and it is all operated. It is all preordained. It is all staged ahead of time. There is not one accident in this matrix and in this new world order that happens just mysteriously. No. You need to go somewhere with all of that. Okay? All right. So some of the dreams that I can recall having, one of the very first ones that I can recall having, I had a dream about my foster mother. This seems to be one of the things that they like to induce the most. Okay? In this specific dream, I dreamed that I stepped outside of the ledge of the house. Ledge. My fingers reached out and touched the wind. And then I took flight. Just like that. That's it. I left the nest. That was it. That was the dream. I reached out, grabbed the wind, and pulled it up underneath me and manipulated the wind in order to fly in my dream. And I did fly. And I knew the fact that I would never forget this dream implied that I was able to communicate in some way, shape, or form with angels, because my mother did speak, my foster mother did speak to me in this specific dream. You can't make this shit up. The second dream that I had, that I can recall, according to the dream log that I keep, was a dream that I basically played basketball in this dream with Kobe Bryant and his daughter. Okay? Now, for whatever reason, pay attention now, because this is where the devil is in the details. So for whatever reason, I was instructed to go to the window and to put on my wings. Because in order to play with Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, I would need wings, right? Why would I need to go to a window to grab wings that I would never be able, you can't Maleficent me. And if you've seen Maleficent, then you know what I'm talking about. You can't take my wings off of me and then place them somewhere special for you in order to get me to try to scavenge for them. That will never fucking happen. Keep fucking dreaming. Okay? So even aliens cannot take my wings exactly where they belong, from where they belong. So you mean to tell me that you met with me in a dream state after you were supposedly dead, just so you can make me feel like you took me away from the one thing that made me famous? Oh, that will never happen, bitch. Keep dreaming. By the way, go look outside the window for your wings. Because mine are right here. You can't, with all that alien technology, separate me from my wings. Even death will not separate me from my calling. Okay? Another one of the fucking dreams I remember having was a dream about me almost getting hit and ran over by a big semi-truck. Now, the big semi-truck almost hit me and damn near took me out. I pulled over behind the semi-truck, okay? I got out of my car. The truck driver, got out of his truck. We met up. As I'm walking up to this truck driver, the person standing in front of me becomes Drake. Literally. The owl. And this is important to mention because if you ever see an owl in your dreams, it means that more than likely, a person in your family is going to die. Somebody that you know is about to die. You know, there's no time frame on that, of course. Of course not. But your spirit guides are actually trying to communicate to you that somebody in your legit spirit guides, not a matrix oracle, because that's not it, my guy, okay? You will know when God has brought somebody into your life. You will not mistake that for anything else. You will know. And it won't be a rumor that you were told by mainstream media. It'll be an intuition that you just know. In your gut, you will have a feeling. This person is being honest. They're actually saying the truth. And I can trust them. Or whatever. That's kind of how it goes. But in this specific dream, Drake stepped out of this semi-truck. And he walked up to me and gave me a hug. Okay? I have had so many dream package sequences where these gang stalkers or these remote gang stalkers have met me in a spirit form, in a dream state, meaning they took my spirit or my soul. So the fact that they're even out here trying to say that God doesn't exist just proves that they're full of shit based on this technology right here alone. So they took, like the way you would see in that Soul movie on Disney, they took my soul out of my body while I was in a dream state, put it in a whole nother dimension. Yes, Lord. Yes, that's it. And met me there. Exactly how you see on Doctor Strange, which, by the way, I ghost produced, so I should know better than anybody.
So they are capable and able of taking your spirit or your astrological soul self, your dream state self, the part of you that is capable of traveling while you dream. They're capable of taking that part of you, okay? That part of you that's technically, supposedly unconscious. Okay, they are a part of a team of people who are dedicated to taking your unconscious part, your subconscious part, your subconscious mind, and manipulating it. They're a part of a team that makes you, in a dream state, a part of a bigger conspiracy, a much, much, much bigger conspiracy that hands down has access to alien technology, 110%. There's no other way to explain the things that these people, these targeted individuals, are experiencing. These targets are experiencing something that is without doubt supernatural, and it would not make any sense to anybody who is not a TI. Okay? It's simple. If you're not a TI, you don't see the things that are intended for TIs to see. You're not experiencing the same trauma that's intended for a TI to experience. Now, the government's job is to control everybody's mind. That's literally what government means. There are some people whose minds can't be controlled, period. There's no manipulating a mind that can't be controlled, period. You can do all of the dream downloading sequences that it takes to try to control this individual who is hypnosis repelled. You can do whatever tactic it takes, but you will never have what it takes with all of those books that are nothing more than lies, with all of those podcasts that are nothing more than socially engineered propaganda. So you mean to tell me that a white person that was considered a Nazi is responsible for producing anti-white propaganda? That's that's the reality of the situation. That's the nature and the gravity of the reality. So, anti-white propaganda is not anti-white propaganda unless Black Lives Matter is actually KKK, in which the God that you serve does not love you, if that's the case. Now, I'm not the one that needs or uses or feels the need to use a scapegoat in place of God. Okay? I don't have a void. There is no void. There will never be a void. Okay? That's why my voice is the most powerful voice on the planet. That's why so many old, washed up mainstream artists want to ridicule the words coming out of my mouth. And that's okay. Just know, I never Nazi'd you. When it was your time, when it was your turn, I didn't pull the same stunts on you that you're pulling on me now. If I did, you wouldn't have made it. Anti-white propaganda, if we're getting technical here, and we are getting technical here, is white propaganda. And you're a buster. You're not even about that shit that you swear to be about. You don't even have it within yourself to do anything for these so-called people that supposedly belong to you. Because you're not actually about that life. And so, since
you don't get your hands dirty, I guess the responsibility goes on to the lap dogs, the gang-stalking lap dogs, right? I've had dreams in which a celebrity is slicing off my beauty mark so that they can put it on themselves at a fucking orgy. These are what my dreams / nightmares entail. Some, not all. And I think this is where I'm going to leave the podcast off. The dream manipulation is in part of mind control. It is all the same doctor, so to speak. And we have an amazingly great God that is abundantly greater than all of our enemies combined. It's not my enemies, it's God's enemies. They're not my people, they're God's people. I don't speak for me, I speak for everybody. Okay?